Esto es Warp Talks, el podcast de Warp, en el que creamos un espacio de diálogo vivo con los nombres que marcan el ritmo en las diferentes industrias creativas alrededor del mundo.
How are you, Georg? Nice to talk to you again. It's been a while. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I remember the first time we talked, it was very exciting for me because, well, Sigur Rós is maybe my favorite band of all time. And one of the things that you said to me that really stuck into me was like this description of the band as if it was a child that is very curious and can play with anything. Yeah, since then I have been like looking into Sigur Rós's music and its videos, and it stuck to me because I started to realize that maybe what the band is playing with is like to get people into a childlike state again because of the videos, because of the Lenska that it's like trying to learn to talk again. And I think that's pretty interesting. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's very interesting. I've never thought about it that way.
Really?
No, I mean, I do understand. I can't remember when I said that and why, in what context, but I understand. There is always this. We like experimenting with things, and we like to, bend the rules a little bit, and we don't really care what is expected. We don't think about that. So in that sense, it's a bit, it's childlike in that sense. It's not that. Now we are a band, and now we release this record. We have to do this record. It's never. There are no rules to what we're doing. So I guess in that sense, children don't have rules.
Yeah, the band has changed a lot over the years, but it also it always have like something like very special in its root that it's unique, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think all our albums are different because it's the obvious things are the fact that there's a period of time between them, and we might all be in a very different sort of situation. Just different headspace, and it's. We don't go into a record thinking we're going to make this kind of record. It usually dictates itself a little bit. It doesn't necessarily write itself, but a lot of times the songs kind of. I'm assuming that this is for most people that write music, that the song. A lot of times it will be obvious what the song where it wants to go. I just had a conversation today about, it's sometimes quite obvious where the song wants to go, but like Kjartan actually, he said, but you could go like fully like Disney with a song, you could go all in with the music, but usually that's where we kind of pull it back a little bit and go, no, we can't go there, But it's easy with a lot of our songs just to go all in.
I'm pretty interested in themes like the flow of consciousness and the fluxus movement, so I kind of understand that maybe the first impulse or maybe the unconscious side of the artist is like the most important thing about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we write the songs, it's pretty obvious very soon if we continue with the song that we're working on. If we don't like it, we just it's why bother? I mean, I guess you could. I mean, I guess you could sometimes think like, oh, I started something and it's very ugly and I hate it, but I'm going to continue with it, see where it goes. I don't think it's very often like that with Sigur Rós. I think it's usually we start something, and if it hits us immediately, like, wow, that stirs an emotion, or that is interesting to us in some way, then we continue with it and go with the flow, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah,
I guess you could say.
Do you have like in your mind like the image of the moon? No, not the moon. The star of the tarot cards.
No.
But it's a card that I really like because it's like this woman that it's naked and that has like two jars. One of the jars is like taking water from a waterfall, from a river.
Okay.
And the other one, she is like just how do you say, like doing like this on the.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So like a balance thing, kind of.
It's like a balance, but I have like this feeling that it's like the creative process. You get like a jar and you how do you say, accumulate like learnings and expressions from the world, from humanity, and you kind of process that and throw it into some space that it's not like the general river.
Okay, that's really interesting. I like that.
Do you think that maybe that could work in some way for Sigur Rós?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it was Neil Young, I think, said that music is already there. You just have to just grab it. So I guess it is a little bit like that. A lot of times when we write songs, they kind of just happen by themselves. It's usually not. If it is a very deep and elongated and difficult thought process of writing the song, that's usually a song that we give up on.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it has to just flow naturally most of the time anyway. I mean, sometimes we get stuck. We really like something and we want it to get somewhere with it, but it doesn't always happen. There's a lot of songs that we've just thrown away. That were interesting in the beginning, but were just too difficult to finish.
I need to confess to you that I was like quite disappointed because of you didn't make the record that got like Ovidur and all that like kind of songs. I was very
exactly
that approach. I really like that song.
Thanks. It's that record. The record that never happened. Yeah, I mean, we did write a few songs and we're, they were good moments, and there were lots of other songs there that had potential of becoming better songs. But it's such is life, I guess. It just it just didn't happen, and I guess they will always be a part of the past. I think I doubt that we'll ever go back to them, but.
I think that's also like the most darker side that you have like managed to explore in yourselves a little bit. It was like also kind of scary. Do you think that maybe that was like what didn't make why you didn't make the record at the end?
I don't know why we didn't finish it. It was just it was not meant to be. I kind of disagree with it being dark. I think that's actually the mature and bright way of looking at things is that things of the past are just things of the past, and you should never dwell in the past, but only learn from your mistakes. So,
well, I think talk about the future now. So
exactly.
I want to know, like, well, I listened to Ata a couple of days ago. I really like it. I think it's brighter than what you have been doing in these last few years. And I want to know, what does that record say to you?
I mean, like I said before, each record is different. You know, the approach is always different. I think every single time we've made a record, there's always something new in the process of making it. I'm not sure, I have to admit, if that is by design, if it's a decision that we made at one point. I don't think so. It just seems to happen that way, that every time we make a record, it's sort of a new approach. And this record was no exception. I think these songs are, you know, they started off as always, though, being little, you know, demo ideas that were beautiful and that we liked, and it is very much made in a studio, this record. It's not like some of our records where, you know, like for example the Brackets record, which is obviously a studio record, but all the songs are written on tour, for example, and all the recording is done quite separately on this record, and you know, there were songs there that we wanted, you know, that we took further than we thought we would, with, you know, electronic stuff and things like that. But then, you know, the songs just didn't want it, so it all just got taken out again, and you know, very early on the record just wanted to be, you know, a very big string record.
Yeah, it's very orchestral, sure.
Yeah, it's very orchestral, and it was very obvious from minute one that it was an orchestral. All the songs had orchestral feel to them, so they all wanted that. I guess one of the reasons is also that there is no drumming, for example. There is some percussion, but not a lot, and that also creates this sense of air, and you know, it flows a little bit differently. It's not as set in stone, the rhythm and things like that. It flows a little bit differently like that. So
yeah, that's right. It seems like more angelic in a way, I suppose. Yeah. It has like more space, and I love Sigur Rós because all their songs have space, but this seems like a lot of more space. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's a good point, and it's another thing we were discussing today as well. Is that, you know, we like our music to have space. You know, space in many ways, like space as musically. You know, that there is some sort of, you know, that it's big and expansive, but you know, but also that it has this ability to, you know, so that the listener is not dictated to you what the song is about. You know, you can make up your own mind and things like that, and you know, that there is a sort of a sense of freedom in the songs, where you can interpret them as you like.
I suppose that's also the how do you say, what you experience about them, right? Or do you know what you're about?
That what we're about?
Yeah, what the songs are about. Do you know?
Oh, the songs. Yeah, yeah. I mean, to us, it's always, you know, when we get asked about what they're about, it's usually the easiest way to explain it is that it is about whatever you feel like they're about, really. But because to us, when we listen to them, the music dictates the words. So we, you know, when we've already written a song, then we sit down and think about, so what are the lyrics about? What is this song about? You know, what do you feel that it is about? And we just start writing down things like that. So most people have I guess, a similar experience with what the music is about. I'm not saying that everyone does, but most people, and so, you know, I think the music it sounds like a cliche, but the music kind of speaks for itself. It, you know, the words that we put to the song are already in the song because it feels like it is about something that we're just talking about. If you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
So we don't write the lyrics before we write the song. We don't decide what the song is about before we write it. So that all comes after. So I think for most people, it will be the same experience as we get from the song. I hope, anyway.
Also, not only the lyrics, but also do you believe that the images are connected to the song after the song is made? Yeah, the images, the videos.
Yeah, absolutely, and that those things go together with. We sit down and write the lyrics, and then already we start seeing images in our heads. And I mean, I guess our music, has often been described as being cinematic, and I guess that is a good way of describing it, because it already sort of evokes images in your head when you listen to it. I guess a lot of music does that. Not all music, but maybe our music just does that really obviously. I don't know. Don't know if it does it well, but it does it obviously. So
I think that a synonymous of cinematic in music is more like a travel, right? Like your music have like the ability to make people go from one point to another.
Yeah, absolutely. The music usually has a storyline. I mean that, and that's how, like, for example, we take great care and effort in like putting, which song is number one on the record and 2 and 3, and it all has to fit. It's like a big puzzle, and I think most people that make music and release albums do think about these things. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of artists don't, but most probably do. Like, that can't be song number one. That it doesn't fit the story, if you know what I mean. So, and for us, it's sometimes very obvious. That is the first song on the record, and that is how the story starts. But not always.
Do you know what's the story of Ata?
I mean, I guess it's it can be, it is a bit gloomy at times, but it's also hopeful. It is, for us, it was sort of, we had questions about, I'm not saying that we had this in our head when we wrote the music, but working on the music, these are the thoughts that we got, and we kind of felt like this is music that is kind of asking the questions of where we are headed as human beings with all the things that we're doing to this planet and to each other. Pretty big questions, and also pretty obvious questions. I guess someone said the other day, like, these strange times, and I thought, like, well, I seem to hear that every single year. I seem to heard this every single year since I was born. All these strange times. It's always strange times, but we never seem to learn. I guess we come back to that now. We should learn from our mistakes and look forward. But somehow, it seems like a big part of the world is living in the past. So I think we need to find solutions to a lot of bad things going on. But we should be hopeful. We can fix it.
Well, a lot of Sigur Rós music has been like incredibly helpful and pretty in a way. So I was like quite amazed listening that you are not really positive or optimistic about what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, no, I'm absolutely hopeful and optimistic about everything. I just think that we need to ask ourselves some questions as human beings. There's definitely better to be done. And I think for us the record is a little bit that sort of question mark. You know, it's like where are we headed?
That's the big question. Sure.
Yeah. It's a very big question.
I want to know. Well, the cover art of the album is like pretty impressive. It's like a rainbow paints. I want to know what's that about.
Yeah, I mean it's an artwork from 1984, I believe. It's an Icelandic artist called Rúri. She made this art. It's an old photograph. It's actually from a little short film that she made. She's created a few of these rainbow pieces. And it's, to us, it was a little bit like, how should I say? I mean, the rainbow is, it's it's something that happens everywhere in the world. It's such a basic sort of, I mean, it has the prime colors of everything in it. It's such a strong thing on this planet in general. It has the hopes and dreams and everything. It has stories about it. It has everything, and setting it on fire is just, it's quite. It's a strong image. It's thought-provoking. Again, it's like where are we headed? We're setting all of humanity on fire basically, and we should, basically that question: where are we headed, and what do we want?
A rainbow has always been like this figure of dreams, right? So it's like
exactly, yeah,
structure of dreams.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's a strong image, it's for everyone. It is something. There is this, there's always something at the end of a rainbow for everyone, if you know what I mean. But then you just set it on fire. I think it's pretty powerful, as an image.
Well, I have a last question for you, George.
Sure.
Well, I have heard that the intro of Pagetti's Virgin is like the born of a child, right? And I have like this quote for David Tup, who says that David Tup is like a college from John Cage, and he says that it is not possible to know why music exists, why people make music, but that it is like pretty possible that it is because of the prosodic interchanges between a mother and his baby, interchanges that provoke a wrinkle between them. In a way, he's saying that why music exists is because we want to reconnect with our mother, or with the space that we have in our mother. So I want to ask you, what do you think about that?
Well, I think that's quite beautiful.
Yeah.
I think. Did I lose it? No. Okay. Yeah. Oh, my phone. Oh, sorry. That's really interesting. I've not heard this, but I did have a very long conversation with a friend the other day, and we were talking about singing, and we started thinking like, well, are there any other animals that sing? Why do humans sing? It's such a, we sing to entertain ourselves and each other, and I don't think other animals do that. I mean, it's usually more primal for other animals. It's like birds, it's always it's a mating call or something like that, or noises that animals make are to warn off someone, or it's always something. Primal is probably the word I'm looking for, but with humans it's like for pleasure.
Yeah.
Singing, which is creating music. Singing is music, and so I found that quite interesting, an interesting thought. Why do we entertain ourselves and each other with sounds. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking like wolves. They, howl at the moon or something. But I think that's still pretty primal. I don't think that's entertainment. I think it's a to me it's a very deep question. I really don't know the answer to it. But it must be answered to. But no, actually, I was going to say there must be an answer to everything. I think the magic is that when you don't know the answer, it's just, I think that's the beauty of things.
Sure.
When it's not knowing. It's just, I guess that's, not knowing, just believing in something. I think it's a beautiful thing. It's why do we do it? I don't know. Do I want to know? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
because there might be some really boring explanation to it, and maybe I don't want to know it.
That's great.
It's it's like showing someone a magic trick that you really like, and as soon as you see it, it's kind of like, oh, that's how you do it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
I think we should sometimes just keep the magic in things.
Oh, I think that's part of the reason why I love Sigur Rós. It's like I don't understand everything in it, but I connect very deeply on your music. I want to thank you because every time I see Sigur Rós, I end up like crying, like weeping, in an extremely emotional way. So,
good. Mission accomplished then.
Well, my time is running up now. It's since a little while, so I need to say bye to you, George. But it was my pleasure.
Okay. Yeah, really nice to speak to you again as well. Really nice to see you.
Hope
to see you again soon.
I hope maybe in Mexico someday in the future. I expect.
Yes.
This album.
I'd love to come back to Mexico.
Well, let's see. Bye bye, George.
Okay, bye bye. Thanks a lot.
Suscríbete a nuestro podcast y escucha las entrevistas más relevantes de WARP en WARP Talks.